In a time where big men are now shooting and spacing the floor now more than ever, Joel Embiid is still one of the few who can not only space the floor and hit threes, but can also post up down low. As Embiid continues to dominate in his MVP caliber season in 2022, his life and basketball story alike is just worth documenting along the way. Yet another great overseas player, Joel Embiid was born in Yaounde, Cameroon. Would you believe me if I told you that a 7-footer didn't even have plans to play basketball? I'm not lying at all. Joel originally started off playing volleyball and soccer and had aspirations of being a pro volleyball player in Europe. He didn't even touch basketball until age 15, and from then on, it was history. Embiid began to model his game after Hakeem Olajuwon, and it would only take him just 1 year to get discovered by an NBA player. With another Cameroonian, Lukemba Mute, as his mentor, Embiid then moved to the US at 16 years old to perfect his craft to soon be in the NBA. Enrolling in Montverde Academy in Montverde, Florida, Embiid would eventually lead his team to a 33-4 record in state championship while averaging 13 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 blocks a game. With so much success in such a short time, Joel Embiid was now a 5-star recruit and would take his talents to the University of Kansas. As a one and done, Embiid played 28 games, averaging 11 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 blocks. Also having several games with at least 5 blocks will help him win Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year, be named second team All-Big 12, and also be a finalist for the Namath College Player of the Year as well. After such a great season, everything came to an end when a stress fracture in his back caused Embiid to miss the Big 12 and NCAA tournament. Thus began the slippery slope of his injury-prone nature that has continuously plagued him. After a season-ending injury, Joel would then decide to declare for the 2014 NBA Draft. Scouts saw just how much potential he possessed with a developing post-game, shooting, rebounding, and ability to defend in and outside the paint. This of course lured the Philadelphia 76ers, who had just gone 19-63 the year before, into taking him 3rd overall. Unfortunately for the Sixers, it would take a while to see a return on investment, 2 years to be exact. While everyone else was jumpstarting their NBA career, Joel Embiid had to miss all of the 2015 season due to a broken bone in his foot. Things just got even worse when setbacks in his recovery caused him to miss yet another season as well. It wasn't until October of 2016 where Joel would finally see the court again. He'd officially make his NBA season debut not long after that, where he would score 20 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 blocks in a loss to the Thunder. Philly had finally got a glimpse at their new star for years to come. Embiid then followed that by putting together a string of good games which allowed him to win Eastern Conference Rookie of the Month back-to-back. This gave him a chance to be a part of the Rising Stars Challenge, but a torn meniscus immediately ruled him out and his season came to a very abrupt end. Playing 31 games while averaging 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 blocks and 1 steal was enough to land him on the all-rookie first team, however. 31 games was also all Embiid needed to show the Sixers organization that he was the one. Despite his injuries, Joel was handed a 5-year, $148 million rookie max extension. This new deal would also include incentives given if Embiid would make an All-NBA team, in which he did. Joel Embiid made the easy jump by increasing his averages and playing twice the amount of games, and with rookie Ben Simmons, the Sixers looked like an entirely different team compared to before. Putting up 40-point games and averaging a double-double with 23 points, 11 rebounds, and 2 blocks got Embiid his first All-Star selection and later a second-team All-NBA nod. A well-rounded team of Embiid, Simmons, J.J. Redick, Robert Covington, Dario Saric, Bellinelli, and Ilyasova went 52-30 and would get the 3rd seed in the East for a first playoff appearance since 2012. It wasn't all smooth sailing, however, as injuries did cause Embiid to miss games and would cause him to miss the first 2 games of the series versus the Miami Heat. But when he came back, Philly didn't lose again, and the series was over in 5 games. Embiid continued to build on this success in the series with 31 points and 13 rebounds to open up versus the Celtics, but it just wasn't enough, and Boston made quick work of Philly in 5 games. Opening the 2019 season, Joel Embiid will become the 7th player to get 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, and 200 blocks in the first 100 games. With the Sixers team that later brought in Tobias Harris from the Clippers and Jimmy Butler from the Timberwolves, Embiid continued to achieve great feats such as being the first 76er since Allen Iverson in 2004 to score 30 points in one half. He'd even get his first career triple-double and later on joined Wilt Chamberlain as the only other big man in team history to get multiple triple-doubles in the same season. These historic feats, coupled with 40-point games and 30-point double-doubles, got Embiid his second straight All-Star appearance. The Sixers were also able to secure the third seed for the second year in a row as well, this time being matched up against the Brooklyn Nets. Despite missing one game, Embiid still led the way, averaging 25 points, 14 rebounds, and 3 blocks to close out the series in 5 games. Just like in 2018, the real challenge once again was in the second round, but this time it was the Kawhi Leonard-led Toronto Raptors. Unfortunately, Embiid dealt with injuries and illness by then, and this caused a drop in performance, but the Sixers still took it to 7 games and lost on a last-second lucky bounce by Kawhi Leonard. In the shortened COVID season of 2020, the loss of Jimmy Butler on top of Embiid himself just barely playing over 50 games saw the 76ers take a noticeable step back despite getting to the bubble and still making the playoffs as a 6th seed going 43-30. Setting a new career high with 49 points, 14 rebounds, and a win over the Atlanta Hawks, Joel Embiid was still an all-star, however, averaging 23 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block, and steal. Going 4-4 in the bubble pit them against the Boston Celtics once again, as the result was much worse this time around. Due to losing Ben Simmons before the playoffs, Embiid was left on his own. Even though he averaged 30 points and 12 rebounds while playing each game, the Celtics would still sweep. Following the shortest offseason in NBA history, the duo of Embiid and Simmons, along with Tobias Harris, Seth Curry, Shake Milton, Danny Green, and others, came back much stronger than before. In another shortened season, the NBA saw Embiid and Simmons as All-Stars yet again, and Joel would later be selected as second-team All-NBA and second-team All-Defense as well. The Sixers' 49-23 record through 72 games was also good enough for them to be the first seed in the East. Playing at an MVP caliber level, Embiid averaged 29 points, 11 boards, 1 block, and steal, while shooting 54% from the field, 38% from 3, and 86% from the free throw. Due to their best regular season in years, the Sixers matched up against an 8th seed Washington Wizards team with Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook. The series was an easy win, with Philly coming out on top after 5 games, with great games from both Harris and Embiid, who was literally averaging 24 points in 24 minutes, smooth sailing for the most part. It looked like the process was ready to come full circle before running into a 5th seed Atlanta Hawks team that nobody saw coming. It also wouldn't help that Embiid would have to play on a torn meniscus either. Nevertheless, Joel would still go out and dominate. Opening up the first 2 games of the series with 39 and 40 points, the Hawks often had no answer for Embiid out there, but honestly, you could not really say the same about for almost anyone else on the Sixers. Piss-poor performances by Ben Simmons, on top of Trae Young making the entire city of Philadelphia hate him, led to the 76ers getting bounced in the second round for the 3rd time in 4 years. Following yet another disappointing playoff defeat, the relationship between Embiid, Simmons, and the Sixers organization reached a breaking point that was beyond repair. We all saw how great Embiid looked, but the extremely passive play style of the 6'10 Ben Simmons just couldn't cut it anymore. And if he would have been just a tad bit more aggressive and shown a desire to learn how to score outside the paint, then the result of the Hawks series would have been much different. When asked if Simmons could be a point guard on a championship team, Coach Doc Rivers said, quote, "I don't even know how to answer that right now." As a result, Simmons began a holdout while Embiid signed a 4-year, $196 million extension in Philly. He'd pick up right where he left off last season and in the playoffs, even after missing time dealing with COVID as well. Embiid matched his 50-point career high from the year before and will once again join the company of Wilt Chamberlain by becoming the second 76er with a 40-point triple-double. Averaging 30 points a night has put him in the conversation for the MVP and scoring title, and with the addition of James Harden in the mix and bye-bye to Ben Simmons, the hopes for a finals appearance have never been this high, so let's see if the 76ers can finally get over the hump. What do you think? Thank you for watching the video. If you liked the video, like and comment if you think Joel Embiid can win MVP and if Embiid and Harden can bring the 76ers a title. And if you like me, subscribe.